Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about postpartum depression. When I had my son, I actually went through postpartum depression pretty badly, and so I want to come on here and talk about my experience and what postpartum actually is. So postpartum is a type of depression that you can get, whether it be actually in pregnancy, and it can develop through pregnancy up until 1 year after the birth of your baby. For me, my postpartum started like the day I had Valerian, my son, and lasted months without me even knowing. Sometimes this can also be confused with what's called baby blues. Postpartum depression can get confused with baby blues because they're very, very similar, yet very different. So baby blues is a type of sadness or moodiness that can happen after women give birth to their babies. And it can last up to 2 weeks after, but most of the time it just tends to go away. It's just a very temporary thing to have. The difference with postpartum is that it's a lot more intense, it's a lot stronger, and it tends to kind of stay until we deal with it. I went through postpartum myself, and some of the things that I was feeling were pretty intense. The number one thing that I was feeling was regret, and this made me feel like ultimately such a bad mom, like from the very beginning. It seems like society puts it on you that if you have any type of feeling of regret towards your baby, that like that's the worst thing that you could ever do. That's the feeling that I was getting. I felt so much regret because Valerian was an unplanned baby. So obviously when we found out we were pregnant, we knew that we were going to keep him and everything, but he wasn't part of our plan that we had kind of extended for like a few years, because between me and my husband, we had a set plan that we were going to do for our life. So that was one reason why I felt a lot of regret. Number two is because I kind of didn't involve my husband in the choice per se, like verbally, and we both agreed, oh yeah, let's have a child right now. We didn't do it like that. So I felt a lot of regret thinking, okay, it was my body, my fault type of thing. And there was just so much piling on top of both of those that I couldn't get rid of this feeling. Another symptom that I was showing is that I was excessively crying like crazy. I would cry when he would cry. I would get stressed out when he would cry. I felt like I had no life. I felt like I was now tied down. I felt like, you know, I was worthless. So many feelings that just ultimately showed I had postpartum depression, but I also didn't want to accept that. Accepting that you may possibly have postpartum depression or that you're feeling these type of ways in the beginning is actually really, really difficult. I held mine in for a few months, and then eventually one day I was just sitting on the floor with my baby, changing his diaper, talking to my husband, and I laid it out for him and cried to him that I felt so much regret and I felt shameful and just terrible about myself and the whole situation, and I didn't understand why. So once I told him that, I realized, okay, I feel this is something super serious and it's something that I can no longer control and haven't really controlled it from the beginning, so I need to tell my doctor. So the times of when you need to tell your doctor are when these symptoms don't go away for 2+ weeks. You feel like they're getting worse. It's making things very difficult for you to take care of yourself and your baby, or you may have suicidal type thoughts, or you may have thoughts of harming your baby, because that's just what happens. And that's okay as long as we take care of it and we're aware of that. You should not prolong this because it is something, again, that is extremely important and we want to take care of it as soon as possible. For me, I didn't take care of it as soon as possible, and I almost regret that because I could have felt so much better. I did not take this as serious as I should have. I was having a lot of difficulty just with my self-worth, and that's where kind of the center of everything was for me. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't be expected to take care of somebody else. And at that point, I could no longer take care of myself. So once that point happened, I decided to tell the doctor, let's go discuss things. Once I told the doctor everything, it made me feel so much better on the inside, because your doctor should have no judgment against you for telling them important things like this, because that's what they're there for. So for me, at the beginning, I felt like, no, this is just something that's probably gonna go away. I don't have postpartum depression. Later on, when I told them what I was feeling, what I was going through, it was absolutely clear discover that I definitely had postpartum depression. They helped me understand that it's actually a lot more normal than what society and people allow you to think. It is absolutely normal to have regrets. I don't know why people don't talk about it more. I think what affected my pregnancy a lot too was that with Valerian, I had a very difficult pregnancy. I had a lot of health issues. I ended up having preeclampsia. I gained 80 plus pounds. I was a first time mom. Like, there was just so much, I feel like, pressure that I was just slowly drifting away and I wasn't feeling like myself. I feel like I had no choice. A lot of this stuff can affect how you're feeling and affect how you go about your life, because in my case, I just felt like I was losing myself and that was something that I couldn't handle anymore. There are a lot of other things that can cause postpartum depression. There could be a history of depression. Your hormones can also cause this. Not having a great support system when your baby's born, maybe you just have to do all the work yourself, and stress, and then depression comes in, and anxiety. There are just so many things at play that you don't necessarily have to blame a single thing and think that having postpartum depression is bad, because it's not. It's just a normal thing that a lot of women go through. As for treatment with postpartum depression, it's usually two options. Number one is medication. And for me personally, I went on medication to begin with. And once you go on medication, I'm assuming that most doctors would recommend going to counseling. My doctor said that it was kind of almost like a must do. So I set myself up for counseling, and I'm actually still currently in counseling. I've been in it for over a year and a half, I believe. And I don't think I'm gonna quit anytime soon. I did go a lot more when my postpartum was at its peak, but slowly over time, working with counseling, I've been able to recover, and I've been able to become happier and not need or rely on therapy as much, which is a great thing. So I get to choose when I want to go to therapy, whether it be about postpartum, whether it be about my own personal life or Valerian or anything. I get to choose at this point now if I want to go to therapy or not, which I find as immense personal growth and just so amazing compared to when I first started going to therapy in the beginning. I want to change somebody else's experience, because I felt like I was completely alone and like I was the only one going through it, even though you're not the only one going through it. But it really felt that way because I had never heard anyone describe it in any other way other than a negative connotation, if that makes sense. For me, I think postpartum can be empowering, enlightening. You can grow to love yourself so much more through it. And to me, I find it a great experience to go through. And I don't think most people would tell you that. They would probably not wish it on somebody else. For me, I've decided to learn from that experience versus tear it down. This is completely normal. It is normal to have regrets. It is normal to regret your baby. And we need to normalize talking about it, because that's the only way this will change. If you didn't end up with postpartum depression, then that's entirely great too. But for those that do end up with it, they shouldn't be judged. Nobody was necessarily judging me, but I felt judged. I felt like society and just people in general would not hear me out and hear that I needed help. They would just assume that I'm a bad mom, hence would make me feel like a bad person. And I don't think that I could have handled that at that point. I would have been even more sad that that's what people thought of me, and that the fact that I cared about what people thought, yes, it still affected me at that point because I wasn't strong enough emotionally to handle what I could handle. At this point in time, I'm more than capable to take any criticism and not have it rub off on me, but because I was at such a low point in that time, anything would have affected me. So postpartum can be super empowering. If you can get through postpartum depression, no matter how bad it gets, it just shows that you are such a strong person and that you're willing to take responsibility and take care of yourself so that you can take care of your babies. And to me, that's amazing because you're putting yourself and your babies almost first at the same time. You're putting yourself first by seeking that help, trying to understand yourself and get better. And you're putting your babies ahead because you're doing this for them and for you. To me, that's just amazing and powerful. Postpartum can be a really difficult thing to go through, especially if you don't have a great support system or if you have even a small support system. It is hard. So you have to find the things that will work for you. For me, in my case, it was my husband, my mom, and my therapist. Those were the three main ones that really got me through things and that that I slowly learned to open up to and talk things out with, and even myself. I had to grow my self-worth and my self-love in order for that to happen. That's what makes going through postpartum, again, just so amazing, is that it changes your mindset. Instead of looking at it as a negative thing, you can look at it as something super positive. I got through this struggle, which means that I can get through any struggle as long as I make up my mind that I'm going to get through it and work at it. I want to turn the pages and show you that postpartum can be seen as something completely different. It doesn't have to be about crying all the time. Postpartum depression for me was a road to show me that things can change as long as you put your mind to it. I want this video to help those who are going through postpartum depression to look at a more positive outcome. It's not going to last forever. There are times where postpartum depression can actually turn into just depression itself. So if you feel like you're at that stage, you again need to re-talk to your doctor and just let them know what you're going through. I want women to focus on is the fact that you're trying and you're going and you're still doing it, and that you are being the best mom that you can be. It doesn't matter what other women think. If people potentially have negative words to say to you, then they don't really care about you, okay? They're just caring about their own opinion. If they cared for you, they would support you, understand you, and realize, yeah, it can be extremely difficult, but I want to be there for this person. Postpartum depression changed my life. I feel for the better, because now I'm able to understand what hurt me. I'm able to take care of my baby. I'm able to understand that should this happen again when my new son is born, that I can take the same steps and kind of just go through it and learn even quicker and faster and adapt so much more than what I went through the first time. I feel like I'm a much better mom because I feel stronger on the inside. I feel stronger mentally. It's amazing to hear how people think postpartum depression is extremely, extremely hard. And don't get me wrong, it can be. But can you imagine going through such an extremely difficult time and getting through it? That makes you an amazing person. That makes you a strong person, a strong-willed person, because you were willing to do what it takes to get over a depression, no matter the time limit on the type of depression that you have. I want women to know that it is entirely okay, and that you don't have to be sad all the time, and that you should share these things with people that you feel confident with. And if you feel confident with nobody, at least your doctor. I'm actually really proud to say that I've had postpartum depression. I love telling people that because I want them to know that they're not alone. I want to talk with them. I want to help them understand if they're going through it. I want to be that friend for them. And so I'm never ashamed to talk about having postpartum depression, and I don't want any of you to feel ashamed of talking about it. So I really hope this video helped you in a way to where you no longer feel uncomfortable about sharing this topic with somebody, or maybe you know someone who is going through postpartum depression. Be that support for them, because they are going to remember it forever. They really will. Everyone who supported me, I hold them so highly for helping me get through what I got through. That's the end of this video. I want you guys to leave with knowing that going through postpartum depression is not a bad thing, and it can actually be a great thing. I want you to leave knowing that you are powerful, you are amazing. Even if you didn't go through postpartum depression, being a mom itself is very difficult sometimes. So if you are a mom or a dad, you are all amazing. I hope this video helped you out in some way if you needed it, or just gave you the courage to find the help that you need. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you have anything to ask or anything you want to know, leave them down in the comments below and I will definitely get back with you. I will see you guys next week. Bye!